Hello and welcome to Mediumship Matters with me, Hannah Macintyre. How are you doing? Episode 65. We're flying through it. And today's episode is entitled The Rise of the Social Media Medium. Because it's just something that I've really been thinking about again recently. This funny new world that we are in for mediumship. So if you've been listening to previous episodes, you will know that I've been talking about churches and that we need something new, and that churches are great if that's what you're looking for, but that there are other options for people. And this is the flip side of that, I guess, is that people now are using spirituality and their spiritual gifts to attract fame, and where the line in that sits. So this has all been triggered recently by my own experiences on social media. And I have a group on my Facebook page, my Hannah Medium Facebook page, not the Mediumship Matters one, which is a VIPs group. It just is supposed to be a space for people to get updates who are really interested in me rather than scrolling past. And 3 or 4 times a week, I have to decline posts from other mediums, not being posted by the other mediums, but other people sharing other mediums' pages who are following that share if you want a reading, share into all your groups mentality. And I know that I've spoken about my thoughts on that on this podcast before, but I'm going to do it again and a bit more, because it's a hard balance being in business with your mediumship. It's a hard balance for me being in business with my mediumship. Money for me is a massive, massive trigger. And it's very difficult to sit in that space of attracting what you deserve when you keep telling yourself that you don't deserve it. But equally also, it's very, very hard when this is your source of income to treat it as anything other than a business, and finding that space in the quagmire between all of those points. So, number one, if I was selling jewellery and there was nothing to do with spirit involved in it at all, I would have no problem with spamming it out there, doing as much as I can, creating as many reels as I can, doing what I can do to get it out there, following all of these tricky algorithms to get as many people to see my products as possible. And yet, when it comes to spirituality, I find myself in my mediumship feeling a little uncomfortable. Now, I do run Facebook ads, because Facebook ads are the nearly 100%, I would say it's 90% of my seats sold at events, if not 95, are through Facebook. They are. And the world that we live in now means that even though I've got 25,000 followers on Facebook, my posts, if I don't pay for them, are normally seen by a few hundred. That's a fact. You have to just deal with that. You have to accept you've got to pay the money to the machine. The big man wants the money, and crack on with it. We could all boo-hoo about it. And the thing is, you have to be honest about that, because there's so many people that just expect the spirit world to get it out there. But the spirit world have no control over the Facebook algorithm. So you've got to play the game, guys. So that's always interesting. That said, I just find this share thing really weird. And I also find, I have to be honest and say, I find what it does to people really interesting, because I know that if I really wanted a message from a loved one in the spirit world, or even a message from my guides, I would want that to come from somebody who I felt sat in the right space, in the right energy. So why is it when we're faced with somebody who's giving off a really strange vibe of just sell, get me out there, make me famous, give me what I want and I might give you what you want, why are we trying to get a message from them? Why are we trying to get a reading from them? It's really interesting to me. And I've had there's one medium in the UK in particular at the moment who has obviously upped their advertising budget. And I am getting his TikToks and my Facebook news feed every time I open my phone, which is quite a lot, but all the time. And it says, if you're seeing this, this is meant for you. And he's shuffling some cards and then he pulls out a card and he starts talking about all this negative stuff about, oh, I know this person hurt you in the past and I know that it was really, really bad what they did to you, and they're coming back into your life, but you don't have to, and it's supposed to be advice, but it's just so negative and nasty, and maybe that's the audience they're aiming for, but it makes my heart ache. It makes my heart ache that they're doing that in the name of spirit. And I'm not saying that I never do things in business, but I'm just saying, if you're seeing this, it's meant for you when you're paying for an ad. What the frick are you talking about? The other thing that I've seen a lot of recently, and it just makes me vom, and I'm not saying I never did it, I'm just saying it makes me vom now, is people sharing absolute twaddle or just stuff and then saying, I felt called to share this by spirit. No, you didn't. You wanted to share it because you want to go viral, because you want more followers, because you think more followers will give you more validation, more money, more sales, and it will to a certain extent. But trust me, I've got a huge number of followers in my opinion, and it doesn't work like that, because they still don't see my stuff, they're still not interacting. It's my events do sell out, but I pay for adverts, I have to work hard to get them to that space. So did you really feel called to share that sound bath? Did you? Or did you think, what can I do today on social media to get myself seen? I know I'll play my sound bowls. And there's a difference. And I'm not saying that way is wrong. What I'm saying is when you say that you're spiritual and you say you're working for the spirit world and then you dress it up like that. Do the things. I mean, I do posts all the time where you have to get people to comment because it's so good for your algorithm. But I'm not titling them with "Spirit have told me to do this." I have sat there with my brain and gone, I really need to get a bit more interaction on my Facebook page again. What can I do that's going to get comments? I'll give away a packet of cards. I'll do a guess what's in the box post. But don't pretend that you are doing these posts for any other reason than what you're doing it for. And it's all about integrity, isn't it? And I find I'm waiting, I guess, for this evolution that we've been told is coming for people. More of the muggles are going to be rising. I'm waiting for them to switch on. I'm waiting for them to start questioning. I'm waiting for them to watch a live with a medium where they're giving all this information about a spirit, but they're not getting a response. So who are they talking to? I'm waiting for that analytical questioning to kick in, which I know I've said it before, but it's just so important. It's so important not to just be there going, okay, they say they're a medium, they've got lots of followers, they're really good at sales. That's why they've got loads of followers. The people I know who are the best mediums, the people that I would want a reading from, the people that I would want to see live, they haven't got the massive followings. And having massive followings is not a sign of a great medium. It's the sign of a great salesperson. And that's different. And I can say that to you as somebody with a lot of followers, because I'm good at sales. I know I am. I'm good at social media. I'm good at people listening to me and talking to me. I know that. But I'm not going to pretend that it didn't come through my crystal ball. It wasn't information given to me by Metatron when he donked me on my third eye when I was sleeping the other night. It's my brain. I've done a social media course. I have learnt. I have kept going with it. I've invested money in it. Ding! It's not magic. And I wish that there was some sort of accountability held, where you're not allowed to pay for an advert and say, if you're seeing this is a message for you from Spirit, because you're paying to get it in front of as many people as possible. That's not Spirit. That's advertising. And I wish that was being in the right space, talked about, understood by people. That said, whenever I get my knickers in a super twist about this, because it does wind me up quite a lot, and as you guys know, the whole thing where you've got, that medium that I heard that said your loved ones in the spirit world are drawn to the energy of shares, and if you want to get them closer, you need to share this into as many groups as you can. I felt like I'd been slapped. I nearly fell off my chair. When I heard that person is a great entry level for people. And I know a lot of my followers and listeners came through them. So they started off watching them, and then they started seeing the pattern and seeing the sales techniques and seeing that cycle. And then they started looking for something different. So hopefully, I have no doubt that Spirit will get to people where they need to. And I'm not saying I'm the only solution within this space. There's loads of great mediums out there. I'm just saying that I can't wait for people to just be a bit more savvy with it. And I think this social media thing, it's a real problem. Because it's all the hyped up drama of it all as well. And actually, if I'm honest, the spirit world is calm, it's peaceful, it's loving, it's slow, it's steady. And even when they're filling me with energy of getting stuff done, it's a fire that's got a heat, but it's not roaring. It's not eating away at stuff. It's just there and ready for me. And so much of social media is about hyping up stuff and making stuff bigger and more dramatic than it needs to be. Now, I'm really sorry if I've told this story before, but it keeps popping into my head, so I'm going to share it with you now. But when I think I shared it quite recently. No, I'm not going to share this story. Professional as always. Shall I? I don't know. But what I will say is this. I've seen a lot of selling of fear, selling of overdramatic. It's a bit like Selling Sunset or Real Housewives. That that I like Selling Sunset, guys, but let's not pretend it's real. Let's not pretend that it's a real representation of people's lives. It is dramatized, it's hyped up, it's made to be exciting. I've been watching Marriage with Sean Bean and Nicola, the girl from Spooks. Anyway, and we started watching that purely because my husband was laughing at the news reports about it, saying how boring it was. And we've been together 20 years now. And when you've been with someone 20 years, it is a little dull. You know, I love my husband desperately, and we have great times together and we laugh a lot. But in the day-to-day, if a video camera was following me around, it would literally be, do you want chicken? I don't know if I want chicken. I don't really fancy chicken. What about chicken with that sauce? Oh, okay, I'll have that chicken. I don't know. It's you know, day-to-day conversation is dull. It's dull. And I think for social media purposes, there's a lot of mediums. It mixes in my mind, but there's a lot of mediums that are trying to make it more interesting. And that marriage show, if you watch it, it's absolutely fascinating because there's an underlying tension in it, but the dialogue is dull as dishwater. And that's what makes it interesting, is the actors portraying the emotions beneath the surface with a dialogue that is completely dull. And yeah, oh, my dog's getting involved now. I don't know if you can hear that on the mic, but there is this kind of need to make things bigger, more larger. And the thing with spirit is that spirit are simple. They are simple. They are there for you right now. You don't need me. They're there. They're with you. They love you. They're supporting you as much through your trying to save some money on your weekly food shop as they are on your journey to platform mediumship. They are with you in the day-to-day as they are with you in the big moments, the disasters and the wonderment. They are with you. And that's kind of the magic of it for me. And so the problem is when we start trying to make it bigger or louder or more exciting, then it really is, because then that means that people who are just finding their way to spirit are expecting these big grandiose stories about how they met their spirit guides, and they're expecting this big presence and to know their guides by name, and they're expecting these experiences, and of course sometimes expecting fear too because of all of the crap that's out there. And that's the problem. So it's always about being analytical and finding that difficult space, which I bounce around in, and I never get it 100% right, between being it as a business, treating it like a business, and treating it like it's spirit work. And they're very different things, and that integrity and that alignment. I had somebody message me the other day and said, oh, I see you've put your prices up. Would you explain to me why you think that's okay to have done, and blah, 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 blah. And it was just such interesting, because I obviously got completely triggered, first of all, and went, oh, shouldn't have put my prices up. Another medium is judging me. How could I have done that? And then I thought, no, I'm still very reasonably priced, and it's not something that you're supposed to have several times a year. This is possibly once in a lifetime stuff, isn't it? You want to communicate with that loved one in the spirit world, you communicate with them. That's really supposed to be it. You're not supposed to need it again and again and again, and if you do and you want it, that's fine. But yeah, it's just such an interesting space that we're in, and an interesting space to sit in for you. I need to find a new adjective, don't I, than interesting. I'm always bloody using it. So there, I just wanted to talk about that because I'm finding it fascinating. I'm finding it just so interesting to, again, like I was saying in the last podcast, just sit back and watch this social media stuff that people are doing and the language that they're using, and where do you want to sit in that? And I don't just mean as somebody who wants to be a professional medium. I'm also talking to people who are watching mediums and watching people on social media and interested in all of this, what are you allowing into your energy? What are you giving time to? And does it feel like truth to you? Does it feel like integrity to you? Because if it doesn't, what are you doing? Law of attraction, what are you filling yourself up with? What frequency is it? And one of my friends, who I will leave anonymous just in case they want to be so, but they were telling me that it's a well-known procedure, shall we say, to write a book, self-publish that book, put it on Amazon, offer things such as, if you buy my book, I'll do a free reading, or you can be in my free workshop or my free masterclass. And then, of course, the book itself is cheaper than normally going on a workshop or a masterclass with such person. So you buy the book becomes a bestseller, then they splash all over everything that it's a bestseller. But it's not a bestseller like a bestseller. It's because they've played that game. And I just think, again, I'm really naive. I don't understand that this is what people are doing. When Melanie Veers asked me if I would read My Forever Heart for her, she said to me that she was really naive, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this, Melanie, because she didn't realise that people would charge to read a book. I was just honoured to be asked. I was like, great, I'd love to read your book. Thank you for sending me a copy of it. It didn't occur to me that was a financial thing. I just thought it was a lovely thing to be asked to do. And it's just so interesting, this space that we're in between business and money and alignment. And I'm feeling it even more strongly than I ever have. And action. And the funny thing is, isn't it, is for a lot of people, I don't know how much of it is actually about money and how much of it is actually about fame. And I have to be honest and say, I don't know how much of that is within me too. How much of it is wanting that validation, is seeking, just as I was saying to you guys before, that bit where someone messages you and says, oh, I've seen this medium and they're amazing, and you go, I wish I was amazing. In amongst all of that energy, is there a part of me that thinks if I get 100,000 followers, then I'll know I'm a good medium? There probably is. And there is growth, personal growth, that comes the more followers you get. I mean, the stuff that people are willing to say to me on social media is always very grounding, shall we say. People get very funny with mediums and stuff like that. It's just, where does this leave us? And I can't help but feel like it's almost like there was a space and all of that energy flowed into that space like a crack with water behind it, and it filled up that space. And now it's going through this sort of refining process. And Spirit are asking us all in this incredibly congested world to really take a focus on what we want to let in and what speaks like truth to us and what resonates, really resonates within us. And we've got to find that space for it. Yeah. And there's just so many things that I've been hearing recently. I've been listening to other podcasts and just spend the first 10 minutes talking about everything they're selling. And then they talk about how their space is aligned and it's this and it's that. And I think, well, is it? You've just spent 10 minutes talking about your offering and your membership or your group or your this or your that. And of course we do need to sell. We all need to earn enough money to live. But where's the line? And where's my line? It's so interesting. So I think at the moment, Spirit are just asking us to sit with what resonates with us and really be analysing that at this time. It feels like a really strong energy coming in of, okay, they're showing it to me like bubbles in a glass of lemonade. So if you're American and listening to this, I mean English lemonade that's carbonated. Sprite. If you have a glass of that, you have to decide where you want your vibration to be and attach your focus to whatever bubbles you feel are right for you. Do you want to be the ones that are rising up through the liquid to the surface? And if so, what are you letting in? It's easy to become one of those bubbles that's stuck on the side of the glass and doesn't move. And don't worry, the spirit world will come along if they need to and flick that glass and get those bubbles to rise. But where do you want to be? And understanding that this is always a choice. And it's not about being perfect, and it's not about getting it right every time, but it is about what you want to resonate with. And I know that I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to say it again because they've just shown it to me. A reminder not to just share. And I did this, but not to just share other people's quotes, not to just share the daily post from Ask Your Angels, not to just read or share the writing from the tarot cards that you've bought booklet, but to put your own stuff into it, your energy, your integrity. It's like we're all becoming hubs, attractors, and so it's multifaceted because it's what we're attracting in, but it's also what we are attracting. So it's what we are putting our attraction to, where we're putting our focus, our energy needs to be looked at. You need to be really careful with that at this time. But you also need to make sure you're being that clear conduit for your own soul, your own being, your own way of life. And so again, this isn't just for mediums, this is for anybody. If you're living your life, what percentage of your life right now would you say is your truth? Would you say is where you want to be in alignment with you? And of course, there's always aspects of every life that isn't 100% what we want to do. I've got the holiday washing to do, guys. I hear you. But it is about finding, as much as possible, a really strong mix, 75% in alignment with you, 25% other stuff. Is a really healthy life, more if possible. And this goes from not just social media, but your whole energy diet. What are you consuming? What are you watching on the TV? What are you allowing your brain to think about? What books are you reading? What films are you watching? What people are you interacting with? And I really feel, I didn't know this was going to go like this when I started talking about social media, but I really feel that Spirit are asking me to ask you to analyze, refine, get clarity, ask for clarity if you're not sure, and seek out that really true, strong alignment with what's right with you. Maybe I should do a social media post about it. Jokes. So there we go. Another week, another couple of podcasts for you. I hope that you've enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your questions. Email is podcast@hannahmedium.co.uk, and I will catch up with you again on Tuesday.